don't compare my language as I told you earlier. So I am going to share with you a module named Let's Rhyme. Yeah, Let's Rhyme is an alternative approach. Yeah, to overcome the English language problem among preschool kids. Earlier, initially when I designed it, but later on, after a few years implementing it in preschool, I started sharing it with primary school. Okay, so very ironic. Yeah, ironically, I've shared this many states in Malaysia, but I never had the chance to share with our own colleagues from one time lagi lah pula, ya. Even other states more I never share, right? Okay, so time and one time kan, that's lah sibuk sangat. Okay, so this module I will macam rumuskan kepada 5M. Ya. I will put it into 5M. It is a modular based module management. It has a management system. It comes with certain material. It is a multi-skills material, and finally it is a meaningful way of teaching. Yeah. So what is under module? Okay. It has 28 alphabet rhymes. Yeah. We have 26 letters and 28 alphabet rhymes card. Meaning to say, ada introduction card and closure plus 26 letters. Yeah. So basically it is like this. Are you sure that you can hear me from back there? I don't have to on the mic, yeah? But kalau I on the mic, it will be very loud. So basically it is like this, yeah? One alphabet, one card, yeah? So one rhyme card. And then 40 thematic rhymes. 40 thematic rhymes. What theme, yeah? 40 thematic rhymes. The themes are from the National Preschool Standard Curriculum. So I understand that our theme is more or less the same from preschool to year 3. Yeah. For example, the orientation way, colors, shapes, parts of body, my house, my school, clothing, my family, sports and games, water, sand, weather, transport, road safety, public institution, food, fruits, trees, flowers, vegetables, wild animals, farm animals, sea animals, birds, insects, Muhammad the Prophet, Mother's Day, Teacher's Day, Father's Day, Children's Day, One Malaysia, Hari Raya, Chinese New Year, Deepavali, Christmas Day, solar system, hobby, occupation, going to year. Okay, ada 40 tajuk lah. So these 40 topics are suggested by BPK. You know what is BPK? Bahagian Pembangunan Curriculum, yeah? They design our curriculum, right? So when I presented in BPK, they said this is much similar to what the primary teachers are doing. Betul ke? The topics, okay. Almost the same, right? Okay, so now they think I designed, as I told you earlier, I designed it for preschool kids in 2007, 2008. But nowadays, it seems like it is more matching to primary school curriculum and students as well. Okay, so the concept of the vocabulary, it is simple and appropriate vocabulary. The concept, under module. So 5 to 7 years old, as I told you, but then it is now, under my research, it is now like 5 to 9 years old, and it is National Preschool Standard Curriculum. Any question about the module? Okay, we make it very relaxing kind of a sharing, whereby if you're not clear about any of the points, you may stop me and ask. Okay? You do not have to wait like very serious presentation. Wait till after the presentation, then only Q&A. Kan? If you are not clear of any of the points, you may stop me and ask. Yeah. So shall I move to the second M, management? Huh? Okay. So the management part it is a systematic approach. It has its step, yeah, the step by step. First, you recite the rhyme, and then you recite the rhyme together with action, and then you recite the rhyme together with action and concentrating on the pronunciation. Okay, and it is a cost-effective material. Why? You buy once, lasts forever. Forever, okay? Because happily ever after, forever lah. Okay. Self-access learning. How self-access learning? I'll show you later on. And environmental friendly. Yeah? I think I'll show you straight away. Self-access learning. Yeah? Meaning to say, for example, we are doing card A. Yeah? We are doing card A. So behind the card, there are some activities need to be done. Yeah? Okay, we photostate this card, we give them the card. What can be done from this one card? Number one, we can recite the rhyme. Yeah? Recite with action. Concentrating on the pronunciation and enunciation. And number two, trace the letters. Activity number two, trace the letters. Activity number three, find the high frequency words. What are the high frequency words? Okay, for example, the teacher will tell them what to do. They already know that every time they see is, they must do something with the word is. Okay? So another part of self-access learning is we are going to encourage our students that every time they finish the tracing and coloring part. Okay, for example, coloring, yeah, meaningful coloring. We are often we used to see students who come to our classroom, macam preschool kids, yeah, they tend to have, let's say, for example, they take the color blue, they will color from top to toe blue. Okay, they will color from top to toe green. Okay, dia ambil satu color, dia akan color habis semua macam tu. Okay, so this is where the art and the creativity, the aesthetic value comes in. So they follow the original picture. If they are not so creative to think and color, so at least they follow the original picture. So chances are very less for students to color the whole thing in one color. Okay. So when they color accordingly, it makes sense with the text. A is for apple, red and green. So ada red, ada green. Makes sense lah. Otherwise, let's say they color all blue, it will be a different story. The activity done, coloring activity, meaningless activity because doesn't associate to the text, number one. And then, mana ada apple warna biru pun, doesn't associate to the context as well. Can you see the picture? Can you see? Nampak dari belakang? Okay, so that is one part of self-access learning. So once they are done with this activity, for those who are smart, every time dalam kelas kita adalah seorang dua yang laju sangat, lepas tu yang akan buat bising atau buat nakal related to kerja. So we give them this one blank paper. Okay, ask them to make a mind map. Provided our classroom is very friendly with all this, I'll bring to my classroom later on. Not the best preschool in the town, tak pernah menang apa-apa anugerah for the class board, but then very friendly to students. So I don't follow the preschool punya concept yang so cantik tak. Mine is very children's friendly lah. Ada banyak words, pictures around. So they move around and look for the words that start with letter A. They have job, they have task. Nampak simple untuk kita go and find 3 pictures. I taught you A is for apple. Now go and get 2 more that start with letter A, draw and color and write. It's a very simple thing for us, right? But for them, it's like doing a kajian case. Going around, find mana perkataan A, mana perkataan A, and then gaduh dengan kawan dia pula, kan? That one is bahasa Malaysia, this is English, kan? Okay? So that's how they develop their language skills, and then thinking skills, making decision that this is not English, this is VM. So, as I told you earlier, something simple for us, but then for them, it's like making a research, but doing a kajian case, okay? So that is also under self-access learning. Finally, it is an environmental friendly material. Why? Because as I told you earlier, kita buat sekali je kad ni, and then we are going to use it forever. Kan? So let's say one school has one set of this card, the whole school can use. The whole year one can photostate, the whole year two can photostate. Kan? So very environmental friendly. Yeah? Okay. So the material comes in under let's one kit is the high frequency words. Okay, high frequency words. So in case, tahu kan apa tu high frequency words? Some call it as sight words, some call it as keywords, kan? But then sight words is different from keywords and different from high frequency words. Yeah, sight words kan sight words ni boleh jadi macam let's say you are talking about kalau Peter Engine. So in that book, in that Peter Engine book, the sight word for that book is Peter Engine because it has been repeated so many times, kan? It will be repeated so many times. Betul tak? Peter Engine, for example. But high frequency words are not nouns. are not verbs, are not adjectives, but words that often appear in the text of English. And the research has reckoned that children who recognize, this one cannot be spelled like phonetically, C ke at, liver at back, tak boleh kan? This one you have to like A and D and you have to understand the context, and you have to like recognize. It is just like the simple no entry, the word Milo, you recognize its feature, budak-budak kan? For example, they recognize the PLAY, play, enter, semua ada laptop, right? So a Japanese, a group of scientists in Japan, they did a research on whether the child recognize the position of the word enter, or they recognize the word enter itself. Do you know about the research? Good. If you don't know, good. But I know sikit kan. So they change the position of enter, and still the child can enter dekat mana enter tu ada. Meaning to say, the child does not remember the position of the enter. They recognize the word enter. Nampak? Sedangkan dia tak pandai membaca. Dia tak kenal apa ABC lagi. But they recognize that enter tu sebagai a symbol. No entry, kan? Things like that. M for McDonald tu, most of the kids kan kenal walaupun dia tak kenal huruf, because they recognize the feature because of the seeing and hearing many times. Okay? So the worksheets is ni lah worksheet dia. Satu worksheets boleh guna untuk many activities. Stationaries and color pencils normal lah, and blank papers for the mind map, okay, and the rhyme cards. Okay. Now, what goes under multi skills? Okay, number one, it is definitely language skills, because initially it was designed to improve the language of the kids. And so when I was first year in my preschool, which is 2007, and before that I left my PPSMI. Remember ITEMS, masa tu tengah gempak lagi lah kan. We started in 2002. Macam you all ni macam muda-muda lagi kan, dia tak bash I. Sini kan, nampak je muda right? Tak apa. Okay, so like you ni lelaki-lelaki ni tahu tak what is ITEMS? Yang PPSMI tu, Teaching Science and Mathematics in English. You all tak hidup zaman tu ya? Sempat 2 tahun. Okay. So kita orang ni merasa lah 5%, 10% tu banyak tahun. Kan? That's why we remember Dick. Okay. So I was teaching in year 1 kan, for science and mathematics. So when I go to preschool, mestilah sebagai seorang yang pernah mengajar di Arus Perdana year 1, as a year 1 teacher, what do we want our students when they come from preschool? Number one, we want them to definitely recognize all the letters. Number two, we want them to have a bunch of vocabulary. So when we tell them to, we see with our eyes. We don't have to explain to them. See tu tengok, eyes tu mata. We don't have to explain to our year 1 kids kan. So that was my intention when I was teaching preschool. So I started looking for JU. Masa tu JU lah kan, kita cari JU kita tahun pertama. So I started looking for JU for preschool and I asked them, how do you guys teach English for preschool kids? Kata kan. So the response from the JUs was, we hardly teach English because teaching BN pun dah headache to preschool kids. They come with zero knowledge. To make them recognize alphabets A to Z sampai ujung tahun pun it's a big story. What more to teach English? So this is what JU respond. We do teach them basically what is your name, my name is something. So, but then they don't have their own KPI. So, to me, I think that when my students go to year 1, I want them to be like, orang kata berdiri sama tinggi, duduk sama rendah dengan private sector. You know, this is bandar in Rambutan. They go for smart reader, they go for vital years, they go for Kumain Kumon semua tu kan. All those program. So when they come to year 1, I tak nak lah buka prasekolah skema utama je. Macam down, this all the private sectors all so smart, so knows everything kan. So we have our own KPI. So I started doing some activities to ensure that when they go to year 1, they will have certain vocabulary in their mind. Let's say like parts of body, at least they have 6 eyes, nose, ears, hands, legs. Yang basic lah, tak tahu cip-cim pun tak apa lagi. Yang basic tu kan. So I make sure that they have that. So I design my own KPI kan, key personal index. I design my own KPI. When my students go to year 1, I want them to have this. This. Okay? So when I have my own KPI, I have to come up with my own activity. I have to come up with my own module. Okay? So that is where I started doing my module. Yeah? And that is language skills. Yeah? And it is also a multi-skills. Why? Because the creativity and aesthetic value. Yeah? So as I told you earlier, they color the picture accordingly to the sample. Yeah, macam ni. So adalah meaningful color, and they have to talk. Oh, the letter C is colored with green, so we color green. And the cat is, what color is the cat? They start choosing the color, okay, from the box, kayak 24 colors tu. So okay, they match with this red orange also. So they have some thinking skills to do, not just like take one red and color the whole thing red, or take one blue and color the whole thing blue. So that is the creative and aesthetic part for this alphabet rhymes. And for let's rhyme, I make the students draw. Yeah. For example, sports and games, badminton and football. So they have to draw something related to badminton. Either people playing badminton or badminton racket, doesn't matter. Whatever makes sense to them. Whatever makes sense to the children. If you are not good in your drawing, you want to go back, find gambar licong wei tengah main badminton, fine. You get the picture, you paste here. So whatever, under creativity and aesthetic value, it's either you print out, you draw, or you cut the picture from the magazine or newspaper and put it there. So that is under creativity and aesthetic value. Why? To make sense with the words, badminton and football. So even though tak ada gambar racket dengan bola, ada gambar pemain tu pun, but if that makes sense to them, contohnya gambar Lee Chong Wei dengan gambar Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo misalnya kan, it makes sense to them, okay lah. Ronaldo DiCaprio lah yang sebut. Okay, alright, okay. So as long as it makes sense to them, okay, alright. So that is under creativity and aesthetic value. And about science and technology, yeah. So this whole module are the science and technology also. Okay, for example, okay, C is for cat, cute and clever. When it sees a rat, it will run after the habitat of a cat. Okay, and for example, B is for bird, flying in the sky. So where is the science value? The flying, okay, the movement of animal. So you can't catch it in the sky so high. They will make the movement. Yeah? Kalau A is for apple, red and green, the color of the fruits. Kan? It is also under science. Yeah? Okay. So the physical movement. Okay. I am so much concentrating on physical movement. Why? Because I know that my students nowadays, and I think students everywhere, even anak orang kampung pun nowadays, when we go for dinner, we can see that each and everyone will have one tablet ke, iPhone ke, whatever lah. The father, later on I will tell you something about that, okay? So anything to ask under multi-skills? Okay. Boleh tanya ya? Okay, let's go to final slide, which is meaningful. And it is also a meaningful material. Why? Number one, it is children's friendly. The word chosen are appropriate to their development. Okay, and the pictures are children's friendly, colorful pictures, ala kartun gitu. Okay, the phrases are short phrases. The moment I know that you are recording me, ada gagap. Kan? Dia rasa di buku kamera tu ada air, atau jadi gagap. Nanti you cut Okay, and it is also a fun material because when it is rhymed, it is easier for them to remember something rhyming macam songs, right? And when it is fun, they learn naturally. When it is fun, children learn naturally, kan? That one I don't have to explain. Why? Because when when we learn in a fun and meaningful way, we learn naturally as well. Okay? Enhance students' confidence level. Okay, for example, there is one here, a grandmother of the kid came to my classroom, cakap, teacher, dia kata, gembira sangat. Ada juga keturunan saya pandai cakap putih, gitu kan. Padahal dia pandai rhyme je. and they memorize je. Sometimes they don't even understand. But sooner or later, part of learning is also listening. Listening. When you often listen, you often recite. It's also like speaking. You have the confidence level to answer whenever people ask you. You don't have the macam weird looking when people talk in English to you. It is just about you take some time. For children lah, they take some time to process what actually you are talking. Confident level, increase the confidence level. And finally, it is a holistic material. Why? Because it covers many skills, it covers many content knowledge. It is an environmental friendly material. It is a holistic material. It is a cost effective material. Okay, any question? Yes.
In your preschool, untuk syllabus preschool, memang ada kena ajar bahasa Inggeris ke? It's up to the teacher.
Oh, okay, good question. Memang kena ada. Before this, the curriculum was curriculum prasekolah kebangsaan. 120 minutes in English. 120 minutes for English, which is like kalau 30 minutes one day, 4 times a week lah. 4 kali kita ngajar bahasa Inggeris times 30 minutes, ya. It was like before 2010. 2010, the department, curriculum division, they come up with new curriculum standard. The teachers, the preschool teachers, need to teach preschool students 600 minutes in English. 600 minutes in English. Not teaching English, in English. So there are two different contexts kat sini, ya. Teaching English 120 minutes. You teach English. A is for apple, B is for bird. But teaching in English is you teach something else but teach in English. You teach Sukanika, for example. Okay, today we are going to play bean bag. What is this? Bean bag. We are going to put it on our head and we are going to walk straight, balance on a rope, misalnya, to balance yourself. So we are teaching physical and movement, but in English. So very ironic, cikgu prasekolah kena ngajar 600 minit. You do record this, ya? Ironic lah sebab cikgu prasekolah kena ngajar 600 minit ke English.
That's true.
Because not all the, we preschool teachers are not like you guys. You went for the English language proficiency program, kan? But they come up with a module also to help the teachers, the proficiency class, the script, a lot of bantuan, a lot of aids, helping aids given to the teachers to ensure that the teachers are able to conduct the session in English in the classroom. A lot of efforts have been done by the department, and yet, this is about teacher doing something in the classroom, kan? If you are not familiar with the language, if you are not having the proficiency, it's not an easy work. So then, even you guys yang pandai bahasa English pun is troublesome to teach non-native speaker to teach English, kan? Memang ada masalah. That's why English teachers dapat 10 or 5%, kan? They deserve that because they do the extra job. Yelah, boleh. So preschool teachers has to do that.
Yeah. From what you explained to us is something like, okay, it's very good for us if our school have preschool teacher like you. We are very good in English. So, but for me, I think like when I receive my pupils from preschool, I doubt what they have done during their preschool because just sometimes they don't know what eyes, mouth. We still have to go back to basic. And we still have to teach everything from zero. Something like nothing happened in that during their 5 to 6 years. It's very hard for us, the English teacher, to go back every time, every year. Eyes, mouth, and even sometimes they don't know how to spell the numbers. One time also difficult for them. Yeah, so that's why I asked you: is it compulsory for the preschool to teach English? Using English medium like harus perdana teachers what we have done in our classroom. Okay, because English is not something is very not easy for like for those who haven't have any experience in teaching English, the proficiency a language, because some of the preschool teachers, they don't have that skill, or they don't have any interest towards English, because in their mind English is very difficult language, and for them so difficult. How are they going to use
Deliver
that?
it to the
Yes,
students.
yes, that's the problem. So how are you this preschool world want to something like overcome the problem, so then when they go for their Arus Perdana starting from stand 1, so the problem is no longer there.
Okay. So I remember looking at the letter sent to school by Madam Josephine, stating that stating that she wants an English language teacher to attend this course, and I also remember reading that she also wants that teacher who attended this course go back to the school and do the professional sharing among the English language teacher plus preschool teacher actually. Okay, yeah. Actually, since 2012, I've been already since 2011 actually, I've been already sharing this with preschool teachers. But as I told you earlier, macam you cakap tadi lah, semua faktor yang you cakap tadi tu. Number 1, the proficiency level. Number 2, the interest itself. Number 3, the attitude. Even though we don't have the proficiency, even though we don't have the interest, but as a teacher, when we are supposed to do this kind of things, we are supposed to teach them 600 minutes in English. We take the trouble to do that. We must take the trouble to do that, even though we don't have the interest, or even though we do not have the proficiency. Betul tak? Sepatutnya sebagai seorang guru, betul tak? But as I told you earlier, it goes back to the attitude of the teacher. Okay, you may not good, but you can give your 200% commitment, because there is always a way. Provided you must learn the way lah. Okay, so it is like we have been giving a lot of style, methodology, material parts to ensure that the teacher is doing this kind of things in the classroom. Yeah. There is one time JPN memang distribute all these high frequency words to the preschool classroom now. So what happened was, there is an officer from other district. She said that the teacher can paste benda ni dekat tinggi-tinggi kat dalam langit gitu, just to decorate the class. So the understanding of the concept is not there. So we have been telling them many times, high frequency word is about repetition, using it as a flashcard kan. Bukan kita paste kat langit tu and let it be there kan. Okay, but see, again I'm telling you, it is about attitude lah. So that is why when Madam Jo, she came to my classroom, she's the pegawai bahasa Inggeris dekat JPN kan, PPD kan, PPD. So when preschool are supposed to teach in English, KPM arahkan JPN, arahkan PPD memantau guru prasekolah, pengajaran bahasa Inggeris di prasekolah. So what happened was, one fine day she came to my school without telling me. Came to my school to observe me. She kata she hantar message ke I, I'll be in your school like today for what time. But then kita dah mengajar, tak dengar dah. Dekat prasekolah I kalau bercakap, telefon bunyi pun tak dengar dah. Okay, so I read the message lepas dia observe I lah. Okay. So she observed me, tapi I act naturally, but I told her lah I'm going to do something regarding these things. So I tunjuk kat dia, I use my material and so tunjuk kat dia, and she was so happy. She gave me 97.5 points. I think it's quite high for me lah. To me lah, I rasa 97.5 to teach English for preschool is tinggi. And I think she likes the session a lot, and she likes the methodology, and she feels that she wants to share it with other teachers from the time. So that's why we come up with this program. Okay, so I think we are not here. Macam I cakap, as I answered you lah, back to the teachers attitude lah. That is why the English teachers are requested to come here. Sebab kalau bagi cikgu prasekolah pun, we have already delivered the knowledge to them, the skills to them. If they are not doing, nobody is going to evaluate them, to observe them. Like you English teachers are here, you know this is what's supposed to be done in preschool. If they are not doing, then you can tell them, oh, you should do this. You should do this, then you can get this. Okay, you can tell them. Or you can tell your KP. Or you can, you are not finding people's mistake. You like to share with them lah. Kita nak kerja sebagai satu positive way. Kita nak kerja. Kita jangan judge orang tu tak buat sebab dia malas ke apa. kita anggap orang tak pandai, kita nak tolong. So you all got the knowledge, you got the proficiency knowledge, they might have the content knowledge, share together and do. So benefit you guys also. When the students go to year 1, year 2, you all tak take the trouble to teach back ABC, A's or what. The phonic sounds pun tak dengar semua kan. Okay. So, any questions? Setakat I cerita tentang the 5 M's. That is the slide that I prepared during I presented in Asia Level International Conference. Yeah. So in that conference, I managed to get silver award. Dekat sini dia nampak gambar kat sana nampak macam tu. Dia macam mana dia nak buat?
Take okay.
Macam mana nak tekan pangkal sebab kat sini tak ada benda tu.
Soalan keempat ni.
Soalan keempat. Okay, I explain. Oh, tak perlu slide ni. Okay, ya. So, yang tadi tu, yang I bagi 5M tu adalah the slides that I presented for Asia Level International Conference held in Kuching, Sarawak. So the presentation won me a silver award. Yeah? This module lah, this whole module won me silver award. And before that, in 2010, saya pernah attend the Malta Conference dekat MS Garden one time. 2010, I won silver award also for this material. That one was Let's Rhyme, yang mula tu yang Thematic Rhymes. Yang baru ni dekat Asia Level yang Alphabet Rhymes. Yeah? So a lot of awards have been received by this module. So that is why we think that we should share with cikgu lah. Okay. And finally last year, I'm the only teacher yang bawa benda ni sampai ke peringkat kebangsaan. Kalau cikgu-cikgu pernah dengar Anugerah Inovasi Negara, Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation mesti ya. So I'm the only teacher who able to brought the module sampai ke peringkat kebangsaan ya. Top 10. So mostly iktiraf sebagai best product of the year for last year lah. Yeah, this module. Okay. So I tak nak nampak macam orang yang promo barang. Tapi I kena cerita lah pencapaian benda tu ya. This is not more on telling the power of the module. This is more sharing the methodology. Yeah. If you think that okay, I don't want to get your module, I'll do my own module. I understand whatever you have been explaining, fine. And glad also sebab I've given you some knowledge.
So you dapat anugerah inovasi kebangsaan?
Yes.
For last year.
Last 2009 I anugerah guru inovasi kebangsaan 2009. And then 2010 I menang silver award dekat Malta Conference. 2011 I dapat amalan terbaik untuk 2012 I dapat best presentation untuk kajian tindakan. 2014 I dapat anugerah inovasi negara 10 produk terbaik Malaysia.
And this year?
And this year tak ada anugerah.
Anything?
This year I'm going to present insyaAllah bulan Jun ni I'm going to Brunei to present this module Let's Rhyme. And we are going to have some collaboration with Brunei lah. They want me to do the exhibition there. So macam I cakap kepada dia macam memang alat juga lah. I'm going here and there but tak sempat jumpa cikgu-cikgu di Kuantan sendiri kan. Okay. So fostering language through rhymes ya. Sebenarnya I ditegur oleh Musti hari tu. Dia kata bila I nak menerangkan tentang diri I must put this slide first ya. My achievement first. But you know, kita ni cikgu kan macam tak pandai lah nak jual diri gitu. So however, I just put the achievement dekat last slide ya. So these are the achievement for Let's Rhyme ya, not for Nurjahatan lah ya, for Let's Rhyme. In 2012, I was invited to be the speaker for fostering language during the convention Best Practice Convention, National Best Practice Convention held in Perth International Kuala Lumpur ya. So these are the awards lah yang I pernah terima daripada modul ni. I belajar lambat ya. Baru je habis 2 tahun lepas lah habis belajar. Sebab saya tunggu anak-anak habis besar baru belajar Okay, so kalau pernah dengar memang tak, kalau you boleh baca lah ya. So this is some nice words from a non-government organisation which is not so clear lah. Okay, so I'll do some explanation on fostering language through rhymes. Yeah, I'll go very fast sebab I don't have to explain one by one because benda ni semua cikgu dah buat. Just like macam telling you what is going on with this module ni ya. Okay, so fostering language through rhymes. Yeah, as you asked me just now, cikgu, is the thing in the curriculum. Yeah, so in our curriculum we have 1.5 as to listen to and enjoy nursery rhymes, action sounds, poems and stories. Yeah, very ironic ya bila kita tanya dengan cikgu prasekolah mula-mula lah. I tanya dia orang, do you know what is rhyme? Ramai yang tak tahu what is rhyme. So when they do not know what is rhyme, how are they going to teach rhyme in the classroom? Sedangkan benda tu ada dalam curriculum. Okay, so sometimes you might not know what is rhyme. And then when I ask them, do you know what is Humpty Dumpty, Jack and Jill kan? Macam tak pernah dengar. Just so alien. So kita tak boleh salahkan mereka. Kita salahkan cikgu dia sebab cikgu dia tak ajar dia. Okay?
Cikgu pra ni.
Ataupun dia tak pergi prasekolah dulu. But I remember learning those things in primary, right? So what is fostering language? Yeah? Fostering language is a process to help the growth or development of language. Okay? So what is rhyme? Words put together in line to form a rhyme. It is either nursery rhymes or create your own rhymes. So people ask me, kenapa you tak guna nursery rhymes je? Now why you have to create your own rhymes? Okay, nursery rhymes. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. The Jack fell down and broke his trunk. Jill came tumbling after, kan? So in what theme I boleh associate that particular rhymes? Do you think? Tak kurang signifikan kan? Dengan tema kan? Dengan tema. Why? Because those days macam orang buat pantun lah, dia buat bertujuan. Bertujuan macam untuk menyampaikan hasrat. Dia orang berbudi bahasa, you know. Actually Jack and Jill pun dia ada message politically something is going on in their country. They try to put it in words. Very high literature value. So only people who understand literature can understand the whole thing. Like Humpty Dumpty semua tu ada story di sebalik kejadian those rhymes. Okay? Like our pantun lah, our Malaysia pantun. Semua tu bertujuan. So they do not create these things for the purpose of learning language from text. Okay? So the rhymes that I invented tu memang kalau I nak ajar sports and games, I want to introduce 8 nama-nama alat permainan atau sukan. So those things are put into the rhymes. Memang ada dalam tu. Kalau for example nanti I bagi you handout selepas ni ya. Okay, so create your own rhymes lah. Okay, that is why we create our own rhymes. Okay, what is rhyme reading? Rhyme reading is an alternative approach which is developed to overcome the English language acquisition problem among the preschool kids. Yeah. So the contexts are based on English language curriculum, rhyming text and thematic learning. The process is listen, repeat, recite, listen, repeat, recite with action, read, recite with action, hands-on activity, writing activities. I'll go fast because setiap benda tu ada gambar nanti ya. Okay. So what are the skills? Listening and reciting, speaking, reading and writing. All the English language skills. Yeah? The impact of implementation in children are able to read, to recognize and to understand English words and sentences. Number 2, children tend to memorize new vocabulary learned in each day. Okay? Kalau kita belajar balik teori-teori, ya, remember what Jean Piaget cakap. John Piaget. John ke Jean? John Piaget. So the word schemata, if you still remember the word schemata, yeah? So our mind is like having a lot of folders. We build the folders in our mind. That is why people that is why people can store things. Macam contohnya, if you know something that related to grade, red, the color red. Maroon associate to red ke associate to purple? You can associate easily sebab you dah ada the picture of red, the picture of red and the picture of maroon, you boleh associate. Oh, it is something closer to red, not something closer to blue. So you have the dictionary in your mind, the word and the picture itself dalam kita punya skemata. So we also understand that according to some theories, our mind they keep our mind, it keeps the knowledge content systematically without we noticing it. So for children, dalam hal ni, for children they keep the vocabulary according to themes. So when it is about parts of body, we give them 6 words in preschool. When they go to year 1, teacher introduce elbow, knee misalnya, so they know. Well, last time in preschool I learned eyes, nose, ears, mouth, hands and feet atau legs. Now I'm learning another 4 new words. We'll put into the parts of body family word, parts of body punya group word. Okay, so that is how they put it into folder. Children tend to memorize new vocabulary, learn in each thing, and they keep it as thing in their mind. Okay, number 3, children enjoy reading choral and action. Sebab kita buat macam ala-ala choral speaking nanti I tunjuk kepada student. Sebab this is only like bulan April, they are not so good, but maybe you can get some idea. When you come in August, okay, they are very solid lah. Okay, number 4 children active in the classroom. Why? Bukan saja involve cognitive, but also involve their psychomotor movement and then ada social emotion part. For example, when we say about the L is for lion, fierce, ask them to make the fierce face, and then the fierce voice, and then the fierce action, kan? So ada involve social emotion part. The satisfaction for child, fun and meaningful, increase the confidence level. For teachers, satisfied with the children's achievement, feel happy and confident to teach. And definitely for parents, impressed and happy with their progress, with the children's progress. What more if the parents comes from a non-English environment, dan rasa macam best sangat nak dipandai, kan? So other benefits, increase child's confidence level generally, more vocabulary. Okay, introducing grammar. For example, I love my father, he is wise. I love my mother, she is nice. Father, he. Mother, she. I love my brother, he is clever. I love my sister, she is tender. So they build the concept. Oh, father dengan brother, he. Mother dengan sister, she. So meaning, lelaki, he. Perempuan, she. They make them build the concept. Sebab the best way of learning is when we make the concept on our own self without people telling us. People telling us is something we learn also. But then if we manage to do it before someone tells us, that is the best way of learning. Building the concept, the word menakul. Membaca, mengira, menulis. Membaca, menulis, mengira, menakul. 4M, kan? The word menakul, making reasoning, making justification by understanding it. Introducing, improve spelling quality. Why? Because we baca macam ni every day. See and read. So recognize somehow rather improve the spelling quality. Correct pronunciation, provided teacher use the pronunciation. Teacher use the correct pronunciation. I always tell my preschool teachers, I kata we are so lucky. We are in a big school. Ada ketua panitia bahasa Inggeris, ada cikgu bahasa Inggeris ramai, kan? We can always ask them, teacher nak sebut kata ini, kan? We can always ask the primary teachers. Unlike the kemas teachers and perpaduan teachers. Tahu tak kemas dan perpaduan? They are on their own at one corner dengan pembantu yang kadang-kadang ada atau makcik-makcik yang datang buat part-time harian je, which they cannot rely for the language part, and they have to struggle lah. Okay, I encourage them to buy this digital dictionary. So when you type, you can listen to the dictionary, kan? And you must ensure that the battery is in lah, to make sure the voice comes out, kan? Kalau battery dia weak, dia tak keluar suara, dia keluar kataan je. The maksud tu ada lah. Okay, but the pronunciation is as important as the meaning, kan? For English teachers, betul tak? Okay, so for preschool teachers, they are so lucky. Sometimes we have 2-3 classes in one school, so we can always ask one another, kan? There is one time in one of top school in Kuantan, kebetulan my friend pensyarah UiTM Kuantan cerita kisah benar sebab pensyarah UiTM tu bukan orang lain, kakak dia mengajar kat sini. So she came to my school, she cakap P-U-R-P-L-E, pupel.
Bukan. Apa?
So confident, kan? Jadi, so one thing we must remember, and I always tell my teachers, my friends, yeah, it is much easier to teach than to unlearn them. Than to unlearn the kids, yeah, once they learn pupel, susah nak keluarkan balik pupel tu, nak install balik pupel tu. So that is why the very first time impression is very important, yeah. And finally, fun and meaningful learning and teaching. So how do we foster language through rhymes? Vocabulary. Okay, we can teach vocabulary. Macam mana I cakap tadi, kan? High frequency words, similar sounds, yeah. For example, okay, 2 eyes to see everything around me, 2 ears to hear all loud and clear. Okay, hear and clear, similar sounds, right? Okay, team-based learning, making activities associated with teams. We are teaching food, ambil je flyers from Giant tu, kan, and make a scrapbook, yeah, about foods. Phonological awareness, yeah, A is for apple, apple, okay. Reading and writing, okay. Ada tak Madam Jo cakap pasal bayaran yang you all kena buat untuk makan? Bukan makan dibayar oleh PPD. Bahan dia suruh bayar pada supplier yang PPD hantar. Tapi dia ada bagi resit suruh claim dengan panitia.
Suruh buat diri.
Suruh buat diri, dia tak cakap ya? I tak tahu, tapi dia dah cakap dengan I yang dia dah bagi tahu you all. Nanti I tengok ada resit, I rasa ada bagi resit. Ada. Ada bagi resit.
Claim dengan panitia.
Claim dengan panitia. Dia bagi resit ni, you claim dengan panitia. You bagilah benda-benda ni pada panitia. Bagi bendanya sekali lah, ya. I think the panitia are aware. Ketua panitia aware kot. Mungkin dia bagi tahu ketua panitia masa ketua panitia meeting. You ketua panitia? Tak You ketua panitia Oh, you ganti ketua panitia itu ke?
How much?
So macam mana? Nak bagi ke tidak bahan daripada you all sekarang?
How much per
20.
20. Halal-halal juga.
Jangan, you all claim dengan panitia you. Macam mana?
Aku boleh tak bayar tak?
For me, I can take it.
Okay.
Masih dah.
I can take it for
My own
Saya
sake.
pun.
Jangan, ramai yang cakap macam tu. Sebab this material is keputusan yang dibuat di mesyuarat jabatan dengan PPD. Sebenarnya material ni ada yang berkaitan dengan PNP, ada yang berkaitan dengan English Language Curriculum. Di bawah BERA. Panitia BERA hari tu dia buat, dia ambil ni dia. Nanti I bagi tahu lah buat nanti. Tak kena off tu. Can you please distribute this? You make sure that nanti benda tu kita check, kita buat checklist. Ada lagi siapa tak dapat? Ada semua cikgu ada? Dalam tu ada 4 kad. Ada 4 kad. Ada satu ni worksheet ni yang di photo state. Lepas tu ada resit dalam tu, ada?
Okey, ada.
Ada? Tidak off belum? Oh, I'm sorry. Recite tu you write full, ya. Recite with the correct pronunciation together with action. Yeah, make it sense to the students. recite with the correct pronunciation and intonation of rhymes, and together with action. B is for bird, flying in the sky, make them fly lah. So when they tell them what is sky, they do not know what is sky, tell them the word sky. Basically, the words are often repeated in this context, the whole context. So you will see the word sky in the topic weather. Weather again, okay? So, number 1, reciting. Number 2, tracing. Number 3, circle the high frequency words. Circle the high frequency words. Okay, for example, in this context, A is for apple, you circle is for blue, with blue, sorry. And then every time you see the word is, you circle with blue. It's how you want to put into words, kan? So circle the high frequency words. You choose the word is, I-S is. Okay, next time you choose the word is, you circle with, what was the color just now? Whatever color. For example, here is circled with blue. Okay, so every time you see the word is, circle with blue. So number 4, talk about the similar sounds. So in this context, which 2 words are similar sounds? Green and green. Similar, not exact sound, similar ending sounds. Green and green. Fly, high and sky. Fly and sky. Cat and rat. Cat and rat. Talking about similar sounds. And then coloring the picture. Get creativity and aesthetic value. Coloring the picture. Coloring the picture. Okay, so activity number berapa dah ni? Number 6, number 5? Number 6. Number 6 now. Okay, number 6, talk about grammar maybe. Okay, red and green. When we join 2 things, we put and in the middle, kan? Boys and girls, teacher and student. So introducing the word and, A-N-D, and. Okay, for example, for example, C is for cat, cute and clever, introducing the adjective cute and clever. When it sees a rat, why it? For boy, we use he. For girls, we use she. For animals, we use it. For things, we use it. The word it. Now, introduce the grammar part. And if you want to do the spelling, spell rat, spell apple, spell bird. Okay, the spelling part. Okay. Nampak? Okay. So now let's move to colours. Boleh tak I nak dengar you all yang recite? Ataupun kita break makan dulu, kita go kelas sekolah, dan kita naik balik kita dengar. Okay. Boleh? Boleh? Okay, jom makan dulu. Cikgu simpan, cikgu makan dulu. Sambil tu cikgu boleh tanya I apa-apa. So far okay tak? My explanation. Oh, interesting.
It's very boring, but it's very boring. It's interesting.
Any ideas?
Yeah.
Because this is first year I teach level 1.
Oh really? Before this you were teaching level 2?
Level 2.
So it might
Why
a bit difficult for you to lower your
lower
after
your
so
level.
many years being
How many years?
14 years.
14 years with the upper primary.
Yeah.
Okay, now cikgu you can ask me anything about the record tu. Kalau kita discuss about the division of the Bible. Slogans what happened in the beginning.
So this materials all do you sell or
I'm not selling, I'm a teacher.
you are not?
Say, okay.